and welcome to the Daily News Simplified, the what, why and how of newspaper reading. Today we'll be analyzing the Delhi edition of the Hindu newspaper dated 12th December 2018. The topics to be covered today are reflected on your screen and the timestamping for the same has been provided in the description box below. The first thing that we'll be discussing today is in the reference to the election results. Yesterday only, the election results for 5 states, namely Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Telangana and Mizoram were announced. Now the election process is a very important part of your UPSC syllabus. From a prelims perspective, it will fall under the category of Indian polity and governance in the subsection of constitution and political system. From your mains, it comes under GS paper 2, again under constitution and polity, under the subcategories of Indian constitution, salient features of the Representation of Peoples Act, as well as appointment to various constitutional posts, as well as various constitutional bodies. Now, we can ascertain the importance of this election process from the fact that UPSC has previously asked many questions related to elections. In the year 2017 only, 3 questions were asked in the prelims. And in the very recent 2018 mains, in GS paper 2, a question was asked on the functioning of EVM as well as the challenges before the Election Commission. We'll be solving this question after the discussion of this article. We'll be solving these questions after the discussion of this topic. Now the task of conducting as well as superintending most of the elections in our country is the mandate of the Election Commission. The Election Commission has been thoroughly discussed in the Rao's C3 module of 2018. Let us know a few things about the Election Commission. The Election Commission of India is a permanent as well as an independent body constituted under Article 324 of the Indian Constitution. The main or the basic objective of the Election Commission is to ensure free and fair elections in our country. Under Article 324 of the Indian Constitution, the Election Commission of India has been given the power of superintendence, direction as well as control of the elections to the Parliament, state legislatures as well as the office of the President and the Vice President. Thus, the Election Commission of India is an all India body in the sense that it is common to both the central government and the state governments. Please bear in mind that the elections to Panchayat as well as the municipalities, that is, the local bodies in our country, is the mandate of the State Election Commission, which has been constituted via the 73rd and the 74th Constitutional Amendment Act of 1992. Now, as far as the constitution of the Election Commission is concerned, again Article 324 provides that the Chief Election Commissioner as well as the number of election commissioners shall be fixed by the President from time to time. So as per the original constitution, the number of election commissioners were not fixed. But in 1991, the government came out with an act, and since then, the composition of the Election Commission is that it consists of 1 Chief Election Commissioner as well as 2 other election commissioners. Moving on, Article 324 also provides that the appointment of the Chief Election Commissioner as well as other commissioners shall be made by the President. You should also remember that the Chairman of the Election Commission is the Chief Election Commissioner. Moving on, as far as the removal of the Chief Election Commissioner is concerned, the Chief Election Commissioner cannot be removed from his office except in the same manner and on the same ground like the judge of the Supreme Court. Thus, in other words, the Chief Election Commissioner can only be removed by the President on the basis of a resolution passed by both the houses of the Parliament with special majority. But please remember that for other election commissioners, they can be removed from their office on the basis of recommendations of the Chief Election Commissioner. Therefore, the process of removal of the Chief Election Commissioner as well as the other election commissioner is very different. Now, as far as the tenure of the office of the election commissioners are concerned, Article 324 originally said that the condition of services as well as the tenure shall be determined by the President. But in the year 1991, the government has come out with an act, and according to that act, now the tenure of the Chief Election Commissioner as well as the other commissioner is fixed to 6 years or until they attain the age of 65. Further, they can resign at any time or can also be removed before the expiry of their term. Moving on, as far as the jurisdiction of the courts are concerned, the Constitution of India has specifically said that the validity of any law relating to the delimitation of constituencies or regarding the allotment of seats to such constituencies cannot be questioned in any court of law. In other words, the courts of India are barred from trying such cases. Further, it is also to be kept in mind that any matter related to the election to the parliament or even to the state legislature is barred from being tried in any court of law during the conduct of that election. In other words, when the election is being conducted either to the parliament or to the state legislature, then during that course of election, no petition can be filed or entertained by any court in law. But once the election process is over, then election petitions can be filed in the High Court as provided under the Representations of People Act 1951. But please bear in mind that any doubts or dispute arising out of the election of the President or the Vice President of India shall be inquired into only by the Supreme Court. Hence, to simply put, the petitions in relation to the election of President and the Vice President will be entertained in the Supreme Court, whereas the petition related to any other election in the country shall be first filed with the High Court, though the Supreme Court of India does enjoy appellate jurisdiction for such cases as well. Moving ahead, let us discuss some more related information and issues with the elections in India. One of the major issues related to the elections in India in the recent time has been the issue of the VVPAT. Now, the VVPAT or the voter verifiable paper trail machines were used for various by-elections to the Lok Sabha and the assembly seats. And during such by-elections, there were a lot of reports regarding the malfunctioning of these VVPATs, which had resulted in delay and even in repolling for some of the booths. Now, this incident of the malfunctioning of the VVPAT has raised a lot of questions on the efficiency of such machine, especially for the upcoming Lok Sabha election of 2019. Now, the VVPAT is a method of providing feedback to the voters using a ballotless voting system. In other words, the VVPAT is intended as an independent verification system that allows the voters to verify that their votes are cast as they intended. So basically, under a VVPAT, a printer-like apparatus is linked with the EVM machine. Now, when a voter casts his vote, a receipt is generated which shows the serial number, the name as well as the symbol of the candidate to whom the voter has given his vote. Thus, through this process, the voter is then able to confirm that his vote has been cast correctly. Now, why did these VVPAT actually malfunction? After the investigation and the preliminary findings, it was found out that basically the sensors of this VVPAT had malfunctioned due to excessive exposure to the sunlight. Thus, the sensitivity of the VVPAT to the extreme weather conditions as well as its exposure to sunlight were being considered as one of the main reasons for their malfunctioning. In addition to the technical glitches, the Election Commission has also blamed the relative inexperience of the polling officers which were handling the VVPAT for its malfunctioning. Now, this entire issue of the VVPAT malfunctioning has been covered in the June focus in in-depth detail. You can refer to the focus for additional information. The next point is related to the C-Vigil. C-Vigil basically is an online application launched by the Election Commission of India in order to enable the citizens of this country to report various violations related to the model code of conduct during the times of the election. Thus, this app basically empowers people across the country to share evidence of the malpractices by the political parties, especially when the model code of conduct is in operation. Now, by using this app, any vigilant citizens can immediately report on the incidents of misconduct anonymously. The citizen can file a report by clicking a picture or by recording a video and then uploading this 2 minutes video or picture on this app. Further, after reporting such misconduct, the complainant shall be provided with a unique ID number to track and receive the follow-up updates on his mobile regarding his complaint. Another thing please keep in mind is that this app will be active only in the states where elections have been announced or are being conducted. To know more about C-Vigil, you can refer to the August focus for more in-depth details. Now coming back to the discussion of the questions, this question appeared in the 2017 prelims paper and the question reads, for election to the Lok Sabha, a nomination paper can be filed by. So essentially this question is asking who can contest an election to the Lok Sabha. The first option A, anyone residing in India, is incorrect. Foreigners who are residing in India are not allowed to contest elections. Only a citizen of India can contest elections. B, a resident of the constituency from which the election is to be contested. Now, though this is a tricky option, but this statement is also wrong. As per the Representation of People's Act, it is not necessary that a person should be registered as a voter in the same constituency. That is, it is not necessary that a person should be a resident of the same constituency from which he intends to fight the election. C, any citizen of India whose name appears in the electoral roll of a constituency. Now this is a right option. Now though in the Constitution under Article 84, qualifications to become a member of parliament are given, this article provides for 3 qualifications. First is that the person should be a citizen of India. Second, should have completed 30 years of age in case of Rajya Sabha and 25 years of age in case of Lok Sabha. And lastly, it also says that the person should possess any other such qualification which is prescribed by a law made by the Parliament. Thus, under this third provision, the Representation of People's Act 1951 has stated that only an elector can be elected. What we mean by the statement that only an elector can be elected is that a candidate must be registered as a voter in a parliamentary constituency and must be eligible to vote. Hence, the option that a person's name should appear in the electoral roll of a constituency is correct. Hence, the right answer was C. Moving to the next question. This question was asked in the year 2017. The first statement reads, in the election for Lok Sabha or State Assembly, the winning candidate must get at least 50% of the votes polled to be declared elected. Now this is wrong. In India, we follow the first past the post system under which the winning candidate is required to get the maximum number of votes. That is to say, it is not necessary that the winning candidate should get more than 50% of vote, but any person who gets the maximum votes out of all the candidates is declared as elected. Second statement, according to the provisions laid down in the Constitution of India, in Lok Sabha, Speaker post goes to the majority party and the deputy speakers to the opposition. Now this is again incorrect. This provision is not laid down in the Constitution of India but is rather decided by the consensus in the House that the speaker should belong to the majority party and the deputy speaker should belong to the opposition party. Therefore, the right answer to this question was D, neither 1 nor 2. Now the third question again was from the year 2017. The first statement read, the Election Commission of India is a 5-member body. This is incorrect. The Election Commission of India currently is a 3-member body with 1 Chief Election Commissioner and 2 other election commissioners. Second, Union Ministry of Home Affairs decides the election schedule for the conduct of both the general elections and the by-elections. This is again incorrect. We had discussed that under Article 324 of the Indian Constitution, it is the Election Commission who has the mandate to decide the election schedule for both the general elections as well as the by-elections. Third statement, Election Commission resolves the dispute relating to splits and mergers of recognized political party. Now this statement is right. The third statement basically is in reference to the 10th schedule of the Indian Constitution, also known as the Anti-Defection Law. Thus, any dispute which arises out of the mergers or the splitting or even in relation to party symbols, etc., they are all resolved by the Election Commission of our country. Therefore, the right answer to this question was D, 3 only. Now, regarding this 2018 mains question on the EVM machines and the challenges before the Election Commission to ensure trustworthiness of elections in India has been discussed in the DNS dated 27th October 2018. You can refer to the same to know how to attempt this question. With this, we come to an end of this discussion and we'll move to the next news article. The next news article has been picked up from page number 7 and is in relation to the Lingayat issue. From your prelims, it will form a part of your history of India as well as will fall under Indian polity and governance. In your mains, it can come under GS paper 1 under the category of culture as well as salient features of the Indian society, and also from the perspective of GS paper number 2 under the topic of governance. The context of this article is that the Lingayats in Karnataka are basically demanding a separate religious status for themselves. Now, though this demand is quite old, however, it has gained momentum in the last 1 year after the Karnataka government decided to grant minority status to these Lingayats. So thus, in this aspect, we will try to understand firstly the philosophy of the Lingayats, and then we'll go on to understand that why the Lingayats are asking for a separate religion in the first place. Let us first try and understand some of the principles of the Lingayats. The tradition of Lingayatism is known to be founded by the social reformer and the philosopher Basavana in the 12th century Karnataka. Secondly, the Lingayats founder Basavana firstly challenged the Brahmanical domination of the society and raised voice against caste system, untouchability, gender inequality, Vedic supremacy, etc. He sought to build a human society which was based on human freedom, equality, rationality as well as brotherhood. Secondly, he spread social awareness through his poetry called the Vachanas, which further brought about renaissance in the Kannada literature. Thirdly, Basavana also set up Anubhava Mantapa, which welcomed men and women from all socio-economic backgrounds, that is, people from all kind of backgrounds, to discuss spiritual questions of life. Fourthly, he brought out the concept of Dashoha and Kayaka, which highlights the principle of community sharing, ethical life as well as dignity of labor. Now, Dashoha means the individual should share with the community a part of the earning from his honest social labor, which is called the Kayaka. Lastly, he coined the slogan of Kayakave Kelasa, which means work is worship. What he meant was that there is worth in every job. And since all work is a connotation of worship, it does not matter how mean or low any kind of work might be. And through this slogan, he attacked the untouchability and caste system which was based on division of work in the society. Now coming to the question, why do Lingayats differentiate themselves from Hinduism, is that firstly, the Lingayats challenge the supremacy of the Vedas as well as the idol worship, which are an integral part of Hinduism. The Lingayats instead propagate the idea of single and formless God. The second reason is the concept of the Ishtalinga. The Ishtalinga basically is the symbolic representation of a formless god presented by a guru. And this linga is usually tied to the body and needs to be worshipped by the Lingayats every day. Ishtalinga is based on a belief that the devotee is inherently a part of the Lord and that the individual Atma and the universal soul are nothing but one. Therefore, even though the Lingayats do worship Shiva, they say that the concept of Ishtalinga, which was prescribed by Basavana, cannot be equated to the Hindu way of life. Lastly, they also argue that Buddhism and Jainism too have separated themselves from Hinduism based on their philosophy and way of life. Hence, the same should also be made applicable to the Lingayats. Thus, it is basically due to these main three reasons that the Lingayats are now asking for a separate religion away from Hinduism. Let us now see how this issue of separate religion for the Lingayats has developed on the political front. Now, the Karnataka government had appointed a committee headed by Justice Nagmohan Das to look into the demands of the Lingayats for a separate religion. Accordingly, based on the committee's recommendation, the Karnataka government decided to grant minority status to the Lingayats in March 2018. Thus, by doing so, the Karnataka government has contended that it has the power to consider the demand for minority status as well as recognize a community as minority under the Karnataka State Minority Commissions Act. But after this decision of the Karnataka High Court, various petitions were filed before the High Court of Karnataka challenging this decision of the government. Subsequently, the High Court also said that the process initiated by the state would be subject to the outcomes of the petition filed. That is, the state cannot go ahead with its decision till the time these pending petitions are disposed of. Following this decision of the High Court, the state government of Karnataka in March wrote to the union government asking them to grant the minority status to the Lingayats. However, the union government has wrote to the Karnataka High Court saying that it has rejected the recommendation of the state government to grant minority status to the Lingayats. Now, though not sure, one of the reasons for such rejection could be the fact that a lot of scholars have pointed out that the grant for a separate religion arises from the fact that minority communities get various benefits such as autonomy in the management of minority educational institution, higher reservation, etc. And therefore, for such social and welfare benefits, communities are asking for minority status. For your additional information, you should know that a minority community is a community which is notified by the central government under Clause 2C of the National Commission of Minorities Act 1992. With this, let's move on to the prelims practice question based on a discussion. Please try and solve this question by pausing the video. We'll discuss the answer after 5 seconds. So the question reads, which of the following ideologies is associated with Basavana? The first, concept of sharing social labor with the community. Now this is right. We had discussed that Basavana propagated the concept of Dashoha and Kayaka, which essentially means sharing with the community the earnings from his hard-earned labor. Second, concept of Kayakava Kailasa. This too is correct. Kayakava Kailasa means work is worship. Third, he preached idol worship. This is wrong. We had discussed that he is a staunch opposer of the Brahmanical domination, including caste system, idol worship, untouchability, etc. Fourth, he was against caste system. This is right. Therefore, the right answer becomes C, 1, 2 and 4 only. Now, a similar question in relation to the Lingayats were asked in the prelims of 2016. The first statement was, Siddhas of Tamil region were monotheistic and condemned idolatry. This is correct. Second, Lingayats of Kannada region questioned the theory of rebirth and rejected caste hierarchy. This too is correct as we discussed. So the right answer to this question was C, both 1 and 2. With this, we move on to our next article. This editorial has been picked up from page number 9 and is talking about cooperation between India and Japan in the field of health and particularly universal health coverage. In prelims, it will be a part of your social development under the social sector initiatives, and in your mains, it can be asked in GS paper number 2 under both governance and international relations. Under governance, it could be an issue related to health, and under international relation, it could be in the context of bilateral relationship with Japan. Now, a question related to health for all has been asked in the 2018 prelims under GS paper 2. Therefore, issue related to health become very important from a UPSC perspective. Before we discuss what the author has said in this article, we should know what universal health coverage actually means. So as per the WHO, that is the World Health Organization, universal health coverage means ensuring everyone, everywhere has access to quality health services without facing any financial burden or hardship. Also, universal health coverage is Sustainable Development Goal number 3. Moving on, let us see what the author has said about universal healthcare coverage under the Indian scenario. The Government of India has recently launched the Ayushman Bharat mission, which is considered as the first step in achieving universal health coverage. Now, the Ayushman Bharat scheme adopts a continuum of care approach. The first component pertains to creation of health and wellness centers to provide comprehensive primary health care. This comprehensive primary health care covers both maternal and child health services as well as non-communicable diseases, including free essential drugs and diagnostic services. The second component of the scheme is the Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana, also called as the PMJ. Now, it is this PMJ which provides health protection cover to almost 10 crore of poor and vulnerable families. In the third aspect of this article, the author is talking about Japan's cooperation with India, especially in the health field. Firstly, India and Japan have signed an MOU on healthcare to ensure cooperation between Ayushman Bharat and its counterpart initiative of Japan called Japan's Asia Health and Wellbeing Initiative. Earlier also, Japan had helped India in its effort to eradicate polio. Currently also, Japanese and the Indian doctors are working together and exchanging their expertise at a research and control center on diarrhea which is established by Japan in Kolkata. Further, in 17 cities across Tamil Nadu, Japan is helping India to strengthen the urban healthcare systems in Tamil Nadu. This process of learning is not one-sided because Japan too has a lot to learn from India. For instance, the Ayurveda of India can help bring a new dimension to Japan's healthcare system. Thus, in conclusion, the author believes that though the path towards universal health coverage is very long, but India has taken the first step and Japan will help India all along in its journey to achieve this universal health care. Now, in the year 2018, under GS paper 3, a question was asked in relation to the Sustainable Development Goals. Now, on similar lines, try and attempting this question too as a practice for your mains. Moving ahead, based on our discussion, please try and attempt this prelim question for practice by pausing the video. We will solve this question after 5 seconds. The first statement reads, universal health coverage is a sustainable development goal to be achieved by 2030. This is right. It is the goal number 3 to achieve universal health coverage by 2030. Second, PMJ ensures complete universal health coverage. This is wrong. We had just discussed that PMJ, though, is a health coverage scheme but is only available for 50 crore poor and vulnerable people. Thus, PMJ is not universal in nature because it does not cover each and every citizen of our country. Hence, the right answer becomes A, one only. With this, we come to an end of this discussion. Let's move on to the next article. The next news is from page number 9 and is in the reference to the eco-sensitive zones. From prelims perspective, they will form a part of your environment and ecology, and for mains, they will come under GS paper 3 under the subtopic of environment conservation. Now the context of this news is that Supreme Court of India has directed the Environment Ministry to declare 10 km of area around 21 national parks and wildlife sanctuaries as eco-sensitive area. Now let us see what eco-sensitive areas exactly are. Now as far as eco-sensitive zones are concerned, the first thing you should know is that they are not mentioned under the Environment Protection Act. Thus, it brings us to our second logical question, that where this eco-sensitive zone is then mentioned. The eco-sensitive zones are mentioned under the National Wildlife Action Plan, which was brought out by the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. This National Wildlife Action Plan mandated that the state governments should declare land falling within 10 kilometers from the boundaries of national parks as well as wildlife sanctuaries as eco-sensitive zones under the Environment Protection Act of 1986. Now, how it comes under the Environment Protection Act of 1986 is that Section 3 of this Act allows the central government to restrict areas around which no industries, operation or processes can be carried out or shall be carried out with restrictions. Thus, the eco-sensitive zones today are being touted by the government as the transition zones around national parks and wildlife sanctuaries, which would minimize man-animal conflict as well as minimize forest depletion. And it is for this reason that these eco-sensitive zones are also known as shock absorbers. Let us now look at the list of those 21 national park and wildlife sanctuaries. Now this is the list of 21 national parks and wildlife sanctuary around which the Supreme Court has ordered that an eco-sensitive zone should be created. The first is Pobitora Sanctuary, which is located in Assam and is very famous for one-horned rhino. Next is the Hemis, which is located in Jammu and Kashmir and is famous for the snow leopard. Kishteshwar National Park is famous for the musk deer and is also located in Jammu and Kashmir. The Changthang National Park again has snow leopard as well as blue sheep. The Hoxar Bird Sanctuary is famous for the large egret as well as great crested grebe. Sixth is the Trikuta Wildlife Sanctuary, which is also located in Jammu and Kashmir. Seventh is the Jogimati National Park in Karnataka. Eighth is Thimalapura Wildlife Sanctuary, which is famous for its elephants and is again located in Karnataka. The ninth one, Yadihalli Chinkara Wildlife Sanctuary, is Karnataka's first wildlife sanctuary for Chinkara. 10 is the Deolgaon Rehukuri Wildlife Sanctuary in Maharashtra, which is famous for its black buck. The Thane Creek Flamingo Sanctuary is famous for flamingo. The Malvan Marir Sanctuary is again located in Maharashtra. 13th is the Shirui National Park in Manipur, which has the endemic Shirui lily. 4th is the Khonchen Gamba Ching Wildlife Sanctuary and is also located in Manipur. 5th, Bhagmara Pitcher Plant Sanctuary, located in Meghalaya, is often compared to the Grand Canyon of USA because it's famous for the golden cat, red panda and the very famous carnivorous plant called the pitcher plant. The Fakim National Park, Pulye Badze Wildlife Sanctuary as well as Rangapahar Wildlife Sanctuary are all located in Nagaland. The Rangapahar Wildlife Sanctuary is famous for the wild goat. 19th is the Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar Bird Sanctuary located in Uttar Pradesh as well as the Pilbhit Sanctuary and is also located in Uttar Pradesh. Last is the Jori Pokhri, which is located in West Bengal and is very famous for the Himalayan salamander. Based on our discussion, here is a prelim practice question. Try solving this by pausing the video. We will discuss its answer after 5 seconds. With reference to eco-sensitive zone, consider the following statements. Number 1. They are defined under the Environment Protection Act 1986. This is incorrect We have discussed that they are not defined under the Environment Protection Act, but rather have been mentioned under the National Wildlife Action Plan. Second, they are created as transition zones for wildlife sanctuaries and national parks. This statement is correct. Therefore, the right answer would become B, 2 only. With this, let's move on to our next article. The next news article is from page number 20 and is in the context of the Bio-blitz. From your prelims, it will be a part of your environment and ecology, and for your mains, it will be under paper 3 under the subtopic of environment and conservation. Let us know a few details about the Bio-blitz. Now, though ordinarily blitz are considered as swift, vigorous attacks and are normally a part of military parlance, but Bio-blitz altogether have a very different connotation. Bio-blitz are a kind of biological survey where the participants try to record all the targeted species given within an area. This Bio-blitz was organized under Seasons Watch, which is a citizen science program of Bengaluru's National Centre for Biological Science. Under this Bio-blitz, the participant observed various trees in their neighborhoods as well as campuses and then contributed the information on various parameters such as the species, the location, as well as proportion of flowers, fruits and leaves. Thus, as far as significance of Bio-blitz are concerned, these Bio-blitz are very useful tools to understand how trees change across seasons. Thus, conducting such Bio-blitz would generate a baseline for tree phenology across India over the years. Phenology is the periodic events such as fruiting and flowering. Lastly, it will also help scientists analyze if the climate change is altering tree phenology in the future. Lastly, you should remember that on similar lines, a spring tree quest is also in the pipeline for the next season. Moving on, try and solve this prelims question by pausing the video and we'll discuss the answer after 5 seconds. The question reads, consider the following statements with respect to Bio-blitz. First, it is a technique of understanding how trees change across seasons. Now this is correct. Second, under it, trees are conserved by treating them with biological fertilizers to get rid of the pest. This statement is wrong. Bio-blitz is just a tree watching exercise and does not involve treating the trees with any kind of chemical or biological fertilizer. Therefore, the right answer is A, 1 only. With this, let's move on to our next article. This news article has been taken from page number 20 and is talking about water traces found on asteroid Bennu. Under prelims, it is a part of your science and technology, and in mains, under paper 3, again it will form a part of your science and technology. This news article is reporting that NASA's OSIRIS-REx spacecraft has very recently found evidence of water traces on the asteroid Bennu. The topic of OSIRIS as well as asteroid Bennu have been thoroughly covered under the DNS video dated 4th December. Kindly refer to this video to have more information on these two. With this, we come to an end for today's discussion. Let's move on to the question for the day.